Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do begin, let me go ahead and give a brief little review. In the last part, we had a number of events happening. Now, Deku, the same day he met with President Kimball to discuss an alliance with the Overseers, he went to go interrogate the Enclave prisoners. He was particularly happy after getting the information he needed from them. 2 days later, he led the mutants and some humans in an operation to Camp Guardian to destroy the mutated remains of the Enclave. Now, they went in with no mercy and high amounts of force. They managed to destroy the Enclave. These people started experimenting on themselves and random wastelanders after they were pushed to this extreme. They had no other options. They were hoping to use what they can to get themselves stronger and hopefully attack the airport. It may not have meant much, but getting their revenge was something they wanted. Now, Deku, he mentioned to the Overseers during their meeting with President Kimball, he does have something Courier 6 will be delivering him. The meeting with President Kimball for an alliance did not go well. The man was hoping to get his hands on the FEV serum, the formula, and see about mutating his own soldiers. If they are able to push back the Legion, they may even be able to push into Arizona. The man, however, was rejected with his idea. They threw bitter springs in his face. And the fact that his decade-long campaign in the Mojave cost the region quite a lot of things. Right now, it cost the NCR quite a lot of things. Along with the fact that with half his territory bombed, the NCR, their region, isn't exactly the way it used to be. Right now, maps are going to shift. People are migrating and trying to do their best to stay away from the areas that have been affected. And that does mean much. Right now, 2 weeks later, Deku received a nuclear warhead from Courier 6, a nuclear bomb. He joked about this during his birthday, but the man just gave Deku one hell of a gift. And he isn't sure if a bike was the best trade for this. Then again, he may owe 6 another favor. And with that being said, we do cut to the next day. Deku, he already informed the Overseers about what was delivered. And other than being highly alarmed, there was the fact that Overseer Matthews, he came to investigate. Whenever he found this thing sitting in the back of a truck, he was appalled and horrified. Yet, intrigued whenever Deku, he locked down the truck and got a team to guard it. He was sitting there in an Overseer meeting the next day. He had a lot going through his mind, since today, it happened to be the day. And he does feel a little bit antsy. Right now, him sitting there in the room with the Overseers. And he does express going to stand and starting to talk. He does understand all of them have their own recourse and wish to say something about the weapon. But he does have a few things he does want to say beforehand. Right now, Kaiser, is not going to react very well when he finds out they're not going to ally with his people. Though, fact of the matter is, he may have already made that guess. Deku crossing his arms, and going to talk about it. He's fairly certain, though, President Kimball isn't going to be happy. They may be able to push him away and act more like merchants, but with the fact that he does know the military might they do to have, it does mean something. Though he is worried about something else. Power with the vaults may not last forever. That would, Mr. Midoriya? Yes. That is something we can quite easily not have to deal with. What do you mean? Our power source. We discovered something. Discovered something? Yes. The Enclave, they have a power source that we have now gained possession of. So far, it is classified as top secret, but we do have some people looking into it. Problem is, it's understandably hard for us to wrap our mind around. I'm confused. Is it harder to understand than the warhead? Yes, actually. If we're given proper time, we can fix the warhead. But what do you wish to do with it? I'm hoping to drop it into Legion territory. Once that's done, I believe that it will be that. We give Kaiser an ultimatum. And if he doesn't listen, we destroy one of his places, one of his cities. He wants to say the old world doesn't have a place here. We show him we have a place here. I see. That is particularly interesting. But just tell him already. The Enclave have some sort of cold fusion reactor powering their facility. It's how they kept the cryo chambers on for so long. We believe it's an infinite power source. What? Why haven't you told anyone about this? Can we integrate it to our vault systems? We can. But the vault would have to be underpowered for a significant amount of time in order to adapt it. That is something that we cannot do. People on the lower levels may freeze and others would suffocate. Along with that, right now, the medical team, their research is quite vital. We're still trying to understand the FEV more. They're still going through the notes, and we're worried about powering down the AI. I see. Infinite power. How do we know that's the case? The Enclave systems mentioned it. It's something that they had from before the war. Before the war. Before the war? So you're telling me the resource war, everything that happened back then, they had something to stop it, but they didn't? So these motherfuckers ended the war for nothing. Yes. Deku going to sit down in his chair. And he does it to bring a hand up, covering his mouth. That revelation, it feels insane. The Enclave, they had the solution to the resource war. They had a way out. They fucking had a way out. But why? Why? Why didn't they take it? Esteemed council members, I need to go. Right now, I cannot be here. I'm got a number of other matters I have to deal with today. Please understand, if you do wish to understand my plan, it's going to be simple. Caesar's not going to be happy about this, knowing that we're going to reject his offer. But if he does try to pressure us more, I plan to take a number of people and lead an assault on his camp at the fort. Afterwards, we may be able to lead a small push into Arizona and bomb a nearby region. Hopefully, that may deter the Legion. Whoever would take over in his place, they would not have the ability to rally people. The idea of them knowing one of us can push a button and blow them to smithereens does mean much. I hope you understand. Deku gonna quickly stand up and go to turn, making his way out the door and going to leave. And the moment he does a step through, he does nearly fall over, collapsing onto his knees. The idea that the people from before the war, they had a way out. It does still hit him hard. He feels like he's going to have a panic attack. He just feels anger and rage. Though, he does go to quickly get back to his feet and going to turn, bolting and heading quickly for the medical center. Since right now, Marcy does need her husband. And Deku, he does arrive. Right now, some people, they're still quite intrigued at the situation, since this is unprecedented. The first mutant pregnancy on record for their vault. Along with that, the gestation period was barely able to qualify as 3 months. Just barely. And that, it does mean something. When Deku does go to show up, he does go to find that one of the children were already delivered. Him sitting there and staying with Marcy. And it was quite a bit of a gruesome day. Right now, she does stay in labor for quite a few hours. But by the time everything is said and done, she has been left exhausted. And Deku, he does just want to stand there. 4 kids were born. He has a daughter and 3 sons. That going to leave him with a bit of a smile. He's a father. And his smile does turn serious, turning back to Marcy. Are you okay? I'm fine. Tired. That was a lot. They gave me the good painkillers, though. Though, I really did kind of miss them. You know, your horns do look better long. You know that? Okay. I think they might have given you too much painkillers. No, they gave me just the right amount. I mean, pretty soon I'm going to be singing. I'm going to be talking. Ooh. Do you think I can start dancing again? Okay, I don't remember the last time I saw you dance. Maybe not. Do you think that I can probably get some jet from them? Okay. If you're trying to be dramatic, then stop. Please. Right now isn't the time for that. You're right. Though I can still give Chloe shit whenever it's her turn. Him going to smile, talking about it. Yeah, he understands that. Though they'll definitely be busy. Someone walking over and going to hand off one of the kids to Deku. And he does reach out and go to carefully grab onto his daughter. And he does stare down at her face. She does have some somewhat bat-like ears, though she does also have the horns that do go to reside on his own head. They're small, and when he does bring his hand up, they are soft. Whenever she does bring up a small hand, grabbing onto Deku's finger, he does stare at her nails. They're just like his own. A darkened color and, from what he can tell, soft. They have yet to fully harden, though she does get to share those same reptilian eyes with him. He feels conflicted. How human is she? I mean, she looks human, but he wouldn't call them deformities. Mutations? Yeah, she's quite a special little one. And right now, he does get to stand there. And he does try to stick around with Marcy. Chloe, she does herself even go to take one of the babies, feeling a little awkward about all of this. Though she does understand the excitement. Herself even starting to feel it. Though, whenever she does go to put the baby down, they are taken away. Right now, them wondering about what they can do to make sure they're all healthy. A number of tests will have to be performed. And Inko herself, she has talked about wanting to be there to ensure the safety of her own grandchildren. And some people, they have talked about vetoing this idea, since personal involvement isn't the best thing to do. Her brother talking about how he can handle things there. And she was slightly annoyed, but she did understand. Her nodding and allowing him to go on ahead. And that certainly does mean something. Right now, him going to turn and go to salute his nephew and go to leave. Since the little ones, they're quite the interesting little case study. They're something never before seen in the world. And Deku, he does get to head home. Marcy, she's going to stay in the medical bay for a few days. And there is where he does go to sit down in a chair. Right now, he's sitting at the table. A lot going through his mind. Go to the fort. Go directly into the lion's den and tell that man they're refusing his offer. Give him the ultimatum. And then if he does, go to push them. If he does think they're fucking around. Kill millions. Hundreds of thousands of people. Maybe millions. That blood on his hands. He can accept that. He can already hear what people would say about him. What they're thinking of him. Matthew was pale. The man doesn't like the idea of causing that much death. But Barnett, he begrudgingly understood. The man wants to say no. None of the events they've ever prepared for have talked about firing a nuclear warhead at an enemy, let alone driving one to the heart of their forces. If this is going to work, if this does go down, it will truly be a genocide. One on a scale Deku can't predict. But it's to ensure the Legion stay out of the territory. The NCR, they're just a game of waiting them out. If they do go ahead and cut off supplies to them, that's just it. They become a gang. Muscling in on traders, disrupting trade routes, and causing a problem for a number of locals. And Mr. House may even start putting out bounties for them. The raider gangs in the area are bad enough. The idea that they just become another form of gang, it does mean something. Caps are king, but you can't eat money. You can only eat food. That, or the NCR, has to go white glove society, start eating each other or the locals. And that just causes more problems. They break away from the NCR back over in California and become just another fucking gang that try to control the region. Cliff notes. Something that Deku does get to think about. And right now, he does go to sip his drink quietly. Chloe coming home soon after and going to help try to quiet Deku's mind. Though Deku, he does have a number of other things going through his mind as well. Chloe herself is trying to get prepared for motherhood. That time in Vegas, yeah, it was fun. Though she herself isn't sure about being a mom. He can already see it in his own mind. He thinks she's overreacting. But there's him. He does lie awake, wondering what a decade will be like in the future. Will the Mojave be theirs? Or will it not be? What about Courier 6? The man got him a warhead. In his night, it isn't spent quietly. It's spent full of thoughts about the future, worries, fears, and anxiety. And there is the next day. Deku does prepare a team to head over to the Legion camp. Right now, him going to stand there in the hangar. And while a number of scientists are standing next to the back of the truck going over a number of things, he does get a stare at the team. Right now, they've all been informed about what's inside the back of that truck. And while Deku, he did somewhat let out a bit of a chuckle, all of them are mighty horrified. A nuclear fucking warhead. It may not be working. Well, a nuclear bomb. It may not be working, but they're gonna make it work. Yeah. Because that doesn't sound like a bad idea at all. Now, the team does consist of Samuel Reed, the man who does have the ability to turn himself into a massive scorch beast. The team does also have Aiden and Victor, as well as Ashlyn Greer. And Deku, he does stare at the team of quite a number of fierce individuals. Right now, him going to turn when he does get on to a motorcycle. And he does start to talk about it. Now, here is the main thing. They are about to go tell this man they're not going to ally themselves with him. The man has a brain tumor that only their faction can cure. So he's not going to be very happy about that. It does mean a number of things. Really? Yeah. Actually, we're not going to have time to really get on the bikes when we get there. If things do go wrong, then we need a fast exit. The Legion don't have aerial anti-air equipment. Sam, how do you feel about stretching your wings? I could do that. Though, do I have to carry everybody? You're saying it would be a challenge? No, I'm not saying that. Just asking. Yeah, you have to carry everybody. Him understanding. Going to stand up and going to throw off his duster. Walking out into the open and beginning to transform. And whenever he does go to transform, he does turn into a large scorch beast. It's smaller than Marcy by a considerable size. Though, they do to climb on. And Deku, he does get to sit there on his back. Right now, going to lean forwards and tell him. He'll tell him where to go. Just know it's vaguely in that direction. It shouldn't be that far of a fly. He'll be able to tell where it is since it's not too far away from the lake. Though, the Legion, they do have a considerable hold there. And right now they do to fly off. Right now, them making it pretty quickly by Cottonwood Cove. Before Samuel, he does it to fly down towards the fort. And whenever Caesar does get to see this happening, he does get to look up and stare down at the creature. Or stare up at the creature. Right now, it's going to land inside the camp of the fort. And many of the legionaries who do get to see this, they do come running out with their weapons. Right now, Deku going to slide off of a wing and going to land, feeling his toes hit the sand. And he does a stand up fully. Talking about it. Away. Right now they're here to see their leader. There's an important matter they need to discuss. And Sam does begin to shrink down. A number of people staring on at the group. Though Deku does hear muttered confusions at the man, they do get to see when the Scourge Beast does shrink down. Him going to stand up completely and go to bring his hands up. Him stretching on his back and going to yawn. As he does throw his hands up to stretch more. Talking about it. Honestly, that felt a lot better. Though they're all some heavy fuckers. Got it. Fine. Now, to Kaisar. All of them going to stare. Someone finally leading them over to their leader. And whenever Deku does a step into the tent, the man does sit there on his throne. Talking about it. Well, this is quite the surprise. He didn't expect them to come to him. Though, is this about the events that happened a few weeks back? They were able to see the fires from here. Across the river? No, it's not. Fact is, this doesn't have anything to do with that. The Enclave's gone. I see. And as for you, has your faction come to a decision? That is the only reason why I see you are here. Tell me, may I expect you to hold up your end of the bargain? I believe we should sit down and have a bit of a chat. The man frowning. And he does it to walk over to the table after telling his guards about what to do. They are to step out. And they do it a turn, looking at their leader as he did express. If the man wanted him dead, he'd be dead. Right now, this discussion is not something they are to hear. Those who do stay, he would have their tongues removed if they repeat the information. Or he just have their tongues removed now. Do they still wish to stay? And some, they do just stand there, ready and willing to serve the Legion. And the man does return back, expressing, loyalty, it's quite something, isn't it? Certainly is. Certainly is. Though, I do have some unfortunate news. Him going to lean back in his chair, crossing his hands and going to flex his fingertips. The overseers have come to a decision. They don't believe it is the best for us to ally ourselves with your faction. I see. As for my treatment, that matter was not brought up. It's possible you may still be able to pay us for your treatment, though unlikely. I see. You're expecting me just to here that and be fine with it? Your faction and our faction had a bargain. One I believed could have been struck. I believe you should highly consider your actions next. Because if you don't, you may not leave this place alive. See, I was hoping you'd say something like that. I understand the Legion's proclivities, your ideals, a number of things. But my faction, I've learned something very, very important about them. We have the key the old world never got to share. Something I don't think you can wrap your little mind around, even with all the shit growing inside your head. You speak out of turn. The old world and our ancestors doomed us. Look at what they did to the land. We cannot allow history to repeat itself. Yes, so we learn from history. Or would you rather ignorance exist? You're supposed to be a scholar? Then think about that. What happens when someone else finds another fucking bomb? What happens when someone repeats history because no one's there to learn from it? When people stop being the record keepers. Now, my faction, we rely on technology of the old world. Your faction would too if you had it. Especially you. The man falling silent. I could give less of a rat's ass if you all go primitive. If the Legion does want to destroy all technology, deaf to those who do hold a flashlight, go right ahead. Can't be worse than the Brotherhood. Hell, I killed all them fuckers. They're dead. Hell, I went to go fucking celebrate right afterwards. I'm sure you're happy to hear about that. Though, if you do want to try and impede on us, just know, we embrace technology. We don't abuse it. If you want to go back to the Stone Ages, that's fine. But I'll let you know about one thing, Caesar. If you want to go primitive and be like the first man, I'll show you why the man learned how to fear the sky. I'll be your wrathful god. We have a warhead. Deku's statement lingering in the air. And he does it to watch Caesar go to get angrier and angrier before going pale. The sureness of that statement. Going to hit him. They have a nuclear warhead. You're lying. Am I? See, you have two different options. I know where your capital is. I've been out of Nevada before. I've been in Arizona. It's not easy evading your territories, nor the towns outside of it. As long as you don't cause trouble, you get by. I've been all the way out to Wyoming. If not, Salt Lake City. I've been a number of places. And I have to say, all of them were bad. The Mojave is the start of our effort to rebuild. If you want to stand in our way, go right ahead. Die for it. At least don't be a fucking hypocrite. Alright? We're gonna try and do what we can. I will personally see to it that that thing goes off. I will personally see to it that that thing will destroy your capital. If you don't retreat. Do we have an understanding of each other? You have a month to comply. Withdraw your forces and head out. Right now, the NCR, we're going to be dealing with them. The Mojave is my home, my land. Our people were meant to rebuild it, and all of you fuckers got in our way. Worst case scenario I expected was finding Vegas covered in sand and in ruins. Walking to a dead casino full of skeletons and full of sand. Nothing left. That's what my expectations were. But right now, I'll tell you, if you don't leave, I will take pleasure in killing all of you. Make a move. Ball's in your court. If you try and act hostile towards me, I brought a team of people who are more than willing to burn this place to the ground. So come on, make that call. Roll the dice. Deku going to stare at Kaisar. And the man, he does see the look on Deku's face. He's completely serious. It could be a lie. It could be wrong. But that's another issue. If it is a lie, why would he even tell him it? Why would he say these things? Right now, Deku going to bring a hand up and go to pull a holotape directly out of his pocket, talking about it. These are some wise words from an old friend of his. He thinks he might like to hear them. It's an old copy of an audio log. And the man, he did have a lot to say. Though he's pretty sure he'd love to hear from the burned man. Him going to turn and walk away. And Caesar, he does get a look at the holotape, annoyed. Joshua Graham is dead. And Deku just acknowledged he's alive. And this, it does nearly go to set him off. Him going to stand and turn, yelling for him about what he's been doing. He and his people are going to perish. And Deku, he does a turn and grin, bring his hand up and going to ask if that's correct. And the expression on Deku's face, it does mean something. Deku cocking his head to the side and going to whistle out loud. And the moment that sound is over through the air, there is where a massive roar and a bellow and a scream do go to make their way through the area. Deku spinning around and going to rush directly at Caesar, pulling out Black Betty. And already is going to make his way across. The people who are his guards, they do try to get in the way. Deku going to bring a hit up and go to grab one of them. Right now, him going to grab them by their fist and go to stop. Going to bring the knife up and stab directly into them. We're going to turn. Him going to throw the person over his shoulder and kick out of the second person, hitting them directly in the stomach and sending them flying backwards into the tent. And Caesar, he does bring up his weapon. Right now, going to rush at Deku, pissed off and angry. Though Deku, he does to come in. Right now, him going to slash Caesar directly across the torso and bring his hand up. Him going to grab him by the throat and go to pull back. Right now, stabbing him directly in the gut and going to slide across the blade. Before he does go to let the man go, and he has a drop to the ground. Right now, Deku cut into his soft little underbelly. And he does go to watch as a number of important things do go to spill out. And he does sit there in pain. And Deku, he does it a turn, going to walk away, telling him, looks like he had those guts after all. And the man, he does try to think about what to do with the situation. Though, there is where Deku, he does go to start changing. More guards coming in to try and attack him. And the Legion camp does go up into flames. Right now, the 5 here, they do go to rip things apart. Sam does a screech out powerful bellows, powerful noises. Aiden and Victor, these two, they do start to bum rush and destroy much of the Legion camp that does come at them, firing weapons and going to try and rush them with blades. Others, they do try to use higher calibers, but all that does succeed in doing is putting a target on many people's back. And there is Deku. When Deku does come out of Kaiser's tent, he does join the battle. A number of people being torn to shreds, ripped apart. and the fort, it is left in disarray. Right now, Deku and the team going to leave, as afterwards there is a dude to head back over to the vault, and he does go to think. They need to turn everything into Camp McCarran, let them know that Caesar's dead, and what's going to be happening with the region. He will bomb the Legion. That is a de facto thing he does want to have happen. It's quite unfortunate, though. Talking to Caesar was supposed to be a bit more poetic. If he let the man try something, he would have been drastic. Maybe it was the best decision to kill him. Maybe not. Honestly, he thinks letting him bleed out like that is the least kind thing he's done to that man. Well, it may be the kindest. He's not really too sure. Though the Legion are now an enemy. The NCR, they'll need to be pushed back out of the region. Once that's done, they can take over the dam and figure things out from there. Though, at this point, they don't really need it. They have purified water, they can turn on a second Gek, and things should be good there. They don't need to control the dam. In fact, he thinks that that's the best thing that they can do. And Izuku, he does go to report into the overseers. Kaiser's dead. The man will no longer be an issue. But fact is, they do need to see about what's going on over in his territory. And they may need to lead an assault into Nevada. And that's certainly something the overseers are quite intrigued to do. Though Izuku, foremost and first, he does need to check in on a few things. Some people, they have already mutated. And the initial changes, they are still worried about. Him going to check in on the group that has been given this chance. He's well aware that Mia wasn't picked just yet. She's still undergoing certain tests, and they are still trying to find another Scorch Beast somewhere around in someone's genetics. If they can find that compatibility with the FEV, that does mean something. And right now, there is that. Though, after checking in on the team, he does get to head home. He does go to shower and change. Right now, him walking into his residence and going to see Marcy. She does won't sit there. And she does return as Deku does go walking over. Him quite surprised to see that the children, they are already crawling around. One is even already trying to walk. And he does feel a little guilty. Going to ask, when did they start walking? Apparently, they're like animals in that regard. They're healthy. Okay. And as for the side of us, we're not sure yet. They've definitely shown traits of both of us. I think Junior over there has got the wings. You sure? Junior? Well, I mean, we haven't thought of a lot of names. I mean, I thought of a few, but I was expecting more girls. Oh. That's alright. It's fine. Though he was the firstborn. What should we name him? Connor. Connor? Connor Midoriya. Not half bad. A fitting tribute for a friend. Though, what about the girl? Hmm. I mean, Rosaline. Not bad. What do you think? I'll trust your judgment on that. Though, Rosalind. Sounds nice. Yeah. As for the other two, that may be a bit harder. I'm sure we'll figure something out. We've got all the time in the world. Right now, though, I'm sure you'd be happy to know that Caesar's dead. Really? Yeah. We can send a message over to Mr. House. We can inform the NCR embassy, and I'm sure they'll try and reach out back to us. I'm sure. Though, they might take this as a bit of an opportunity. You know this means we're involved. It does. But we're involved as us, not as allies to them. You killed Caesar? Yeah. Wish I could have been there. I'm sure you could. Though, Deku bring his hand down to his stomach and slicing open. And he does talk about it. Spilled right out. Her going to lean her head back and somewhat laugh out. And this does cause one of the kids to jump surprised. And he does a turn looking at that. Reaching down and grabbing one of his other sons. This one, yeah. He does seem to have a bit more death claw on him. He can tell that already. Right now, him holding the kid and just trying to think about what to name him. Something good. Something strong. Something that does sound right. Now that is gonna be a hard decision. And with that being said, you do have the Legion. The Legion, they are in a little bit of chaos. When people do head up to the fort after seeing something fly away from it, they do find the place burned. They do find the area marred and scorched. Fires rained through the tents. And there was the fact that Caesar, their elegant lord, he was found on his throne. Though, what they found sitting beneath him does show quite a bit. A sign was left on his chest. It called him a heretic of the Legion. And that it did enrage many. Calls were sent out for additional forces, since this can only be the work of the Vault Dwellers, along with the fact that they must have allied themselves with the NCR. And that does mean a number of things. Right now, there is the Legate. He does go to hear about Kaiser's death a few days later. A messenger came, and it did worry him. That does have a number of implications. Though the demon, the Deathclaw Man, his killer, he will not allow him to label Mighty Kaiser, Lord Kaiser, as a heretic of the Legion. That cannot be accepted. That is heresy in its own right. And he does get a turn. Right now, talking about what they'll be doing. He will be leading a force of the Legion on to Hoover Dam in the Mojave. They will bring thousands of their forces to bear. They will make it to where they will drown their enemies in blood. If not theirs, their own. Either way, they will choke on blood. They will choke on steel. Or they will be left there, broken and battered and hanging off the side of the dam. Their bodies will be left as an ornament of their victory. And with that being said, the man does begin to try and amass his forces as the new leader of the Legion. In the name of the mighty Kaiser, he will take Hoover Dam. He will take the Mojave. It will become new ground and new territory in honor of their leader. And with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. And have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.